right, welcome everyone. How is everyone doing? Looks like we are live, and it's good to see everyone. So I'm just going to click over and make sure I can see the chat and all that good stuff. Basically, I want to dive into talking about XD, covering XD for Photoshop and Illustrator users, and really how they all can work together, okay? This is really only the beginning, but I think what this is going to help with is understanding sort of the underpinnings of how XD works and those file types, things like that. So that's the short of it, and I'm going to be creating something. So that is the plan. Hello, Mahmoud Nasser from Egypt. Very cool. From Romania in the house. Yes, I can talk about Photoshop and Illustrator. That's what I'm going to do right now. Let's actually switch over. You can see Illustrator right here. All right. Just had to adjust the music. All right, so let's dive into this. I'm actually, hey, what's up, Randall from LA? What's up? Yeah, I just had a bite of a I'm having milk and cookies right now. It's 3 p.m. here in Denver, Colorado. And I want to dive into this. So, Denmark's in the house, India, Germany, all over the place. Good to see you here. Fantastic, guys. That's the plan, is diving into this, you know, and showing you what you can do between Illustrator and Photoshop and Adobe XD. So if you're not familiar, of course, Illustrator allows you to create in vector like I'm doing right now. Notice how I have all these different little elements that I'm working on. I have this logo and I have these elements. I have some of these graphics already done in Photoshop too, right? So I have these different layouts created in Photoshop using artboards, okay? So that's what I'm doing there. But I can't really prototype. I can't click on this button and take me to the screen. It just doesn't work that way, right? But luckily with Adobe XD, boom, this one's already kind of made, so I feel like I'm cheating here, guys, a little bit. I am cheating a little bit, so let's just go File, New. I'll save this one for later. You can obviously make your own prototype based on these presets. I'm going to dive into a custom size is what I'm going to use, okay? So here I am. XD is going to allow me to not only design but also prototype. So when it comes to designing, it takes care of that design part for me in conjunction with Illustrator and Photoshop. And then I can also prototype this bad boy. You know what I'm saying, Joseph? Joseph's from Nigeria, everybody. Welcome! Good to have you here, man. Awesome. Belarus. Ah, you guys are from such cool places. Alright, I had my afternoon milk and cookies because I'm ridiculous, right? So we can have this splash screen. So I'm just going to start this out. I'm going to show you a couple things, a couple little tricks. Flash. So this could be my splash screen, right? Clicking right here. Obviously, I could change the background color. You guys get that whole idea, right? One thing you might not realize, and something you probably saw from my other layout in Photoshop, is this fancy little gradient. Okay, so I don't need to bring that in as a ping file or anything like that. I can have gradients in Adobe XD. So that's what I'm doing. Clicking right here. Let me show you. Zooming in on this. Zoop. Hopefully you guys can see that. Changing it from solid color to gradient. Okay, so it gives me that gradient right here. I can say, hey, you know what? For this one, let's just crank that up. Let's make this nice purple, right? And let's go from purple to a bluish, a light blue that is. So we'll go right here and bring it up over here. Okay, so that's what I want. But I'm pointing this out to you because obviously you can have that gradient right in there. Not only can you have that gradient, but you can start to adjust it. So I even think it works better than Illustrator and Photoshop because I can just kind of manipulate it like this. And obviously, zoop, 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 you can see how I can change that color stop right there, okay? Done and done, adding those color swatches because I'm going to be using these colors a lot. Boom, boom, done and done. Let's move on, right? Oh, Kathleen. This is totally for Kathleen. Kathleen, Hey, guess what? Helena, Toronto is not boring. In fact, you have the best bar in the world there. It's called Bar Chef. Go to it. It's on Queen Street. So check it out. It's the best place ever. And XD is new, and that's why I'm so glad Kathleen is joining me. So this is for you, Kathleen. Right? So I have this file. Allows me to design and prototype both in one environment. So let me get some things drawn. Okay, so it's very straightforward what you could do in terms of drawing. Boom. Done. Guess what? Oh, real cool, Paul. You did a square or a rectangle. Not impressed. I get it. Neither am I, right? But you can sort of drag out what you want, adjust the Bezier, or excuse me, the corners like I'm doing right there to make a button, just like that. Just making this happen as quickly as possible to give you guys what you want, right? So I'll just create something like this. Bop, bop, bop. Let's move on, right? So there's my button. Work with me here because I'm just showing you these rounded corners of what we can do, right? So we're sort of building in this login screen. And then when it comes to sort of even drawing in other apps and bringing them in, because chances are you might be using Illustrator, right? You might be using Photoshop. But for this asset right here, any one of these things, I'm just going to release this clipping mask. Right? So it's not gonna fully take place, of course, of something like Illustrator, right? Because this is my birthday icon. This is what I want to bring in. So I can still draw in Illustrator. I can copy this. I can paste it right into Adobe XD. Done and done. Boom. See, easy enough. There's my little icon right there. That's gonna show up later, okay? So I can still change all those properties, right? So it's actually just dealing with this like it's an SVG file, because that's what it brings in, is all of that math, right? So I could round those corners for anything that I place in here. Clicking right in here, double clicking. Guess what? Here's the Bezier points, right? And again, that's pasted from Illustrator, right? I want to draw out some more things, right? So I might want to draw out something. Let's use the pen tool. If I wanted some smoke, right? Some just lines that kind of show off, say, smoke, for instance. Again, dragging out, using the pen tool, making it lighter. You guys get the idea right here. Okay, you're wondering, hey, you know what? It doesn't look that advanced in terms of drawing, right? We have a pen tool. Well, you don't need the plus, the minus, you know, add points, remove points, all that stuff, because it's already baked in. So when I go over here and I decide I want to add a point, well, look, I have the pen tool selected. I can click. Oh, thank you very much. Now I have, you know, that Bezier point right there, right? So that's what I can do, is add points when I want to. I can adjust them independently if I want to get rid of them. Get rid of that Bezier point right there. Delete, done, just like that. Okay, so grabbing this in, I can adjust these independently, right? I can double click on them and it will turn it from a smooth point to a solid point. And you can see how that works. Cool. And again, this is Adobe XD. So this is Adobe Experience Design Beta. Just so you know, you can get to it. Let's just take a look. Wondering where to get it? I can actually post a link for you guys. I'm actually going to show you. If you have your Creative Cloud desktop app, all you really need to do is go to your desktop app and you'll see Experience Design CC Beta. Okay, so that's where it will ask you to install it. You can install it there and you're well on your way. Cool, right? But I'm showing you how to draw and how it works kind of like Illustrator. So you have those Bezier points, right? But you don't need to have a lot of, you know, a plus to add and remove points, that sort of thing, when it comes to XD, because it's all kind of built in. Wait for it, wait for it. This still needs, again, I'm just trying to make smoke just for fun, just to give me something to draw. All right, so here's the little smoke that comes up. We've already seen how we dive in here and we can change the gradient. You guys get the idea. Okay, if anything had a gradient that I'm pasting in from Illustrator, that gradient will come through as well, which is good. I want to change this to transparent. I can drop that down. You guys get the idea. Cool, let's move on. What other questions do you guys have? Right, there's my little smoke. Sure, why not? Priyanka, is everything going out of your head? hopefully it's blowing your mind. I hope that's what you're trying to say. But what I'm saying is you could use these basic tools to draw, to create, right? Use the pen tool, right, to draw any way you want, okay? Right? You guys get that? And also, guess what? You can also use Illustrator to create, right? And bring into Adobe XD. So you don't necessarily have to just use Adobe XD to draw. You could use anything you want. I'm trying to see what other illustrations I have that I can steal from. All right, but anyways, let's take a look right in here. Here's another thing you guys can do, okay? So again, working with Illustrator and Adobe XD when we're creating things, right? I showed you copying and pasting already. Let me show you this. You guys may or may not be aware of this. I'm gonna drag this into my new asset export panel. You guys familiar with this? Huh? Arsalan, what's up, buddy? Arsalan, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. Fantastic. My friend Millicent. When should you use Adobe XD over Illustrator? When you're drawing in basic, you know, boxes and graphics like I'm doing here, that's when you can use Adobe XD. But when it comes to actually like illustrating something complex, you're going to need the control that Illustrator gives you, okay? So that should answer your question. Use Illustrator when things are complex, but Adobe XD can do a lot of things at a basic level right now, right? So it's not trying to be Illustrator at all. Okay, so let's go right in here. Let me show you. Adobe Illustrator again. Did you guys know about asset export, this asset export panel? All right. Let me show you this asset export. I just dragged this into here. So this is my birthday icon, right? Birthday, all caps apparently. Right, so here are my three icons. Oh, let's take this logo, bop, and drop it in there. There's my logo. There are 4 icons. Sure, I can take this text, drop it in there, and this is, you know, relate. That's the name of the app. But what I can do from here with this asset export panel is I can say, hey, you know what? Output this as an SVG file. Okay, so that's what I want to do. Output as SVG. All right, bop. And where's it going to put it? I'll just click export. Export it to my relate folder, right? And choosing that folder, it exported out those graphics. As I jump out to it, you can see them right here, and I apologize there. It's white on white, so that wasn't very smart of me. But you can see the logo right here. Hopefully I have the logo selected. So what you do need to do is you need to select each one of these. So notice how they have the blue highlight. That means they're selected. And now once they're all selected, I can click export, put them in this folder, choosing that folder, you know, replacing even any previous ones. And the nice thing is I can still continue to play with this item or this shape or whatever and export it out again and again. So SVG happens to be one of the types, of course, that we could bring into good old Adobe XD. So I can grab the relate text. There it is. Boom. Other graphics as well. Let's get in my likes icon. Starting to add and create this app like I'm doing, okay? So the new asset export panel is brand new, by the way. If you weren't aware of it, that's what's going on. It is for, so again, I'm developing an app. Thank you for pointing that out. Oh yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. Is I'm sort of slowly creating an app, and I'm starting to create sort of the start screen, essentially, is what I'm doing. Relate. Let's grab that logo. Oh, guess what? Here's a logo Illustrator file, right? So there's my Illustrator file. Or SVG file. I can bring that into. I'm going to take a second look at that, because that's really interesting that this is this way. So, embed, ungroup, release clipping mask, Ah, that's why. So this clipping mask is something that actually doesn't come through. That's something I've noticed. So I can always take any element that may or may not come through, thanks to the complexity of Illustrator. But I can take this logo, and instead of outputting it as SVG, I could output it as a ping file, right? Exporting that out like that. And again, if it's too complex for the SVG format, it's not a limitation of Adobe XD, it's a limitation of the SVG file format. Boop. There's my relate logo, right, as we're adding. Let's move on, guys. I'm showing you cool things, okay? You can uninstall Fireworks now if you want to. You go right ahead. Either way, whatever works for you guys. I don't care what you're using. Just I'm trying to empower you. You can Arslan, you can create artboards in Illustrator and send them directly to XD with everything still intact. I really wish you could export everything, all the artboards with everything still intact, and that's not the case right now. Arslan, I'm sure we're looking at that because it's the same issue with Photoshop. Because here I have all the screens, and I'd love to just be able to directly import them, and then we're just not quite there yet because we're still in beta with it. But lots of things are on the roadmap, and I can show you where the roadmap is later. Okay, let me show you another way. So until then, by the way, this is how I do things, right? So even for this background image, by the way, I'm noticing this background, this login background, this background image right here. I want to export it out. You guys hopefully are aware of this. But I can say, hey, you know what? Login background.jpg, right? Just like that. Just giving it a file extension. And then what I can do is I can go to File, Generate, and turn on Image Assets. Okay, so anything that has that file extension in your Layers panel will get output. So it's going to do JPEG, SVG if necessary, PNG. I can control the quality, the size, all sorts of things. Right, and that's how I've created these image assets. So what happens? Boop. And I can even show you. I'll delete this folder, right? This has all these graphics in here. These are just layers that are named. I'm going to delete it. Ready for this? I'm going to move this over. I'm going to move this over. Right, so there's my folder. Nothing's in there, right? So I'm looking for here's my relate PSD. Now go ahead and make that separate folder as soon as I turn this on. Generate image assets. Bing, it just made it, and then it starts making all these images right here. Okay, so that's how you're going to do things in general when it comes to exporting out assets for bringing them into Adobe XD. Okay, so here's my splash screen. Maybe I want to add a secondary screen, select the title, Command D, boom, that's it. It's as easy as Illustrator and Photoshop. Start removing what I don't need. And then I can drop in, say for instance, this login background, because that would be the login screen, right? Dropping that right in here. Send to back. All right, so sorry I'm not keeping track of the chat. Camilo, fireworks? Question mark. I don't know if you're joking. I don't know if that's a little joke. Oh yeah, thank you. The login button is weird. Thank you, because it's annoying me too. That's why I appreciate you guys, you designers, being sort of like online with me. Right. So let's just do this. We'll just do something like that. Hopefully everybody's satisfied. Although, again, I'm just in a rush to make something that will kind of work. So this is where like the username, password will go, something like that. Maybe this is, again, technically this is the splash screen, but if I have a login screen, again, I'm just mocking up something for this app as I start to put this together, okay? So this can go to the next screen. Let's just pretend like this is the login screen. This is going to be the content screen because I want to show you something more around content, or a list view, if you will, right? So I have that background right there. Notice how I just dropped it in. That looks pretty good. I could take this graphic. This is actually pretty cool, by the way. There's a number of things I can do. So you're asking about the best resolution to start designing an app. Remember, this is for creating and prototyping. You're actually not making the final app, but let me just show you the export options. I'd prefer it if you made it like twice the size would be a good idea. But I want to point out what you can export. Okay, so I can export out ping files for, say, iOS. And right here it says it's designed at sort of a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, designed at 1 times. Or if you make it twice as large, you can say, hey, it's designed at 2 times the size. Okay? And what happens is here, selected assets will export at 1 times, 2 times, and 3 times their size. That's what's happening there. Android works a little bit different. If I select Android, you could do 100%, or if it's twice as large, 200%. But you can see right here, it'll export out all those different sizes. And if I selected everything, it will actually export out everything. So yes. So yes, that's how that works. Just keep in mind your export settings. I've been doing things just at 100%, but I try to keep things as like vector as possible. And again, that's the goal. Okay, so notice how you're kind of clicking around. You might accidentally click on this and move it. Oh, that's not what I want. Nor do you want that little pop-up. But you have this layer panel right over here off to the side. So you can say, hey, for that background, let's lock it down. Okay, so just like Illustrator and Photoshop, you could lock content down. Another thing you can do, let me show you this real fast. You ready? No, I'm not married. But thank you for being concerned with my personal life. I appreciate it. So let me show you this real fast. Check this out. Photoshop. Maybe I want to redesign, you know, this sign up screen. Okay. Now, first of all, remember, I'm always going to keep image assets turned on, but when I add like lake.jpg, it's going to output that lake JPEG file. But another thing I can do is I can actually come in here and say, hey, you know what? For all this stuff, selecting this artboard, or really anything. Oh, I gotta show you so many things. I can copy merged, so I can copy all the merged pixels if I want to get that and just use it as a template. Okay. Another thing I can do is right over here. Let me paste this in before I forget, before I start copying anything else. But I can paste that in right there. So you can copy merged, paste right in there. Coming back right over here, let me show you one more thing. You ready for this? Again, this is working with Photoshop. This is just a box, but if I right click, look at all the different export options you get too, right? For just this simple shape, I can copy this as an SVG file. Hair, what's up, Hair Malworth? How you doing, Hair? Good to see ya. So I can copy the SVG or copy the CSS if I needed to, but I like that I can do this, sort of copy that SVG. It's just a box. We didn't get very complex. Pasting it in, and that's the box, or whatever shape it is from Photoshop. Okay? But we have a couple screens. Let's go ahead and adjust these accordingly. Let's make this a little larger. Here's another thing I can do. It's super cool. Background blur. Ready for this? Turning this on. I love this background blur because I want to put text in here and I want it to be blurry. I'm adding that blur in just like that. Let me do one more thing, guys. Actually, I'm going to do a lot more things, but I want to get this in. I want to have a repeat grid, so I'm going to do that right now. So first off, I need an image. Why not? Let me show you a couple things right in here, by the way. Let's grab a circle, or excuse me, a square or rectangle. Remember, I just dropped in images earlier, but you could actually take an image, right? Taking this image, this JPEG, and I can drop it right on that box. Bop, right? And now look, I have control over it. It's always going to center it, right? But it gives me more control when I'm sort of designing this app. And I'm thinking, you know what? I want this to be a circle now. Bop. And now it's a circle. Because what am I doing? I'm just going to make sort of, I don't know, I can make a list of people or places. So this relate app can be for people that I'm friends with, or even places. I'll have a list of places, but I'll just put, and this is what you do. I'm not even sure if I'm spelling his name correctly. It doesn't matter, but I'm just typing in somebody's name. Oh, it's not even that random. That's kind of a problem. But here's basically a name for what I'm putting together right here. Let's make it done. Still be on this. I want another box. Those other two. Taking these 3 items, coming right over here, saying, hey, you know what? Rather than duplicating this, right, 5 times or whatever, I can come over here and say, oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. Basically, I had a shortcut key. I had a shortcut key that launched a trailer that I wanted to show you, which is us at the OFF conference this weekend. So I deeply apologize about that. So sorry. Commercial. Sorry, guys. Forgive me. Ah, so embarrassing. All right. Okay, now that we're back here, let me show you, because this is what I was doing. This is what I hit the number 3 because I was resizing this to 30 point. But after I select these 3 items, I can come over here to repeat grid, click repeat grid, and now I have as many Freds as I want, which I want all the Freds because Fred's hilarious. So, thank you, Evil Charisse. Sorry about that, Bruno. But this is really awesome, right? So now I've created all these different ones. I'm going to take it to the next level, right? So now I'm just going to actually grab some content. Bop, bop. Let's grab some assets. Sure, why not? Let's grab this names text file, okay? And I can drop that names text file right on that name. Bop. And it changed all the names just based on that text file. Same thing for these profile images. Let's just select a bunch of profile images, right? Selecting them all. Making sure you can see both. Somebody teases me about how I say the word both. Does that sound weird, both? All right. Thanks, God. Arsalan, I screwed up. I was your hero there for a little bit and I just botched it. Okay, Lolita Handmade. Boom. So there it is. Now you can see that this content has reflowed. Look. Awesome. Right? Done and done. And I can still edit this content because I'm like, oh, I don't like that border. Click. I've turned off the border for everything. Guess what? I want the background blur to be on there. Pop. There's my background blur. Let's actually get rid of that background blur. This might be more along the lines of what I want for this particular app, okay? But I'm controlling this across all 3. Super awesome and powerful what you can do. Let's brighten it up a little bit. You guys kind of get the idea of what I'm going for. I don't want this to be a circle anymore. Guess what? I can change it and it changes all of them across the board. Cool? That's repeat grid. That's easy enough. Let's move on. Let's just make this the go screen, okay? So let's just work on this a little more. Thank you, Limpulus. Yeah, you like that that feature? All right, we're still working on text integration as well, because actually I'd want a little bit of kerning right in there. But yeah, I did it the old-fashioned way. Let's do begin. All right, there's my button. Let's group those. Let's move these icons off. I will worry about those later. We can start to add, say, a thumbs up for her or whatever. But I have my icons in there. I have my logo right here. And I can start to link this content together. Okay, and let's just change her name. Let's change her name to Karen. Whatever. Okay, so I have all these screens created, all 3 of them. Bear with me. As I go into prototype mode, I'm going to wrap this up. And here we go. Simon, what's up? So I'm in prototype mode. See how I switched from design to prototype? Right now I can link this together. I can take, say, for instance, this object right here, point it to this second screen, just like that. Then I get these options. Do we want it to dissolve? Maybe I want it to push. And actually I want it to slide left. Right? That's what I want to do there. In terms of going back, okay, so I kind of need to design that icon. Let's just grab this guy. There, now I have that icon, and I can say, hey, for that icon or button, go back to the first screen, and now I can have it slide right. Okay, so those are the 2 interactions that I'm doing, keeping it really simple, hitting play. We could preview this. Let's shrink this down. Clicking begin, you can see it slide over, and we can see it slide back. Right? Easy enough, guys. You guys like that? Michael Shea is in the house. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. So super easy to work with. Click, click. I can go back. I can go forward. I have control, even though this is a repeat grid, by the way. As I double click, say this Karen Pollack, maybe I want to change this info. Excuse me, info. Disregard the names of this content, but I'll click right here, and you know what? Let's just have this dissolve. No, actually, no. I think we should do a slide left again. I like that. So you're digging into it. Actually, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's make this even more interesting, because again, I want to show you all these transitions. So we're going to do a push up, okay? And then for this icon right here, and this is a little like pro tip, but you could actually, even if you have a graphic, you can just drop on a box and set the fill to none, or basically transparency. And then that can be my hotspot. So when I go over here, click on it, say, hey, you know what? Let's go back, bump, and let's have it push down. Okay, so we're going to click on Karen's name, and then it's going to pop up and then back down. Clicking right there. Goes up, and then click, pushes back down. All right, her to answer your question, XD is used for prototyping for sure. Designing and prototyping. It's like the only app that can design and prototype in one. We're actually working on the Windows 10 version right now, by the way. So there is a Windows 10 version out there now that has a lot of these features, not all of them just yet, but we're trying to bring that up to parity with the Mac version. So that's kind of what's going on with that. So you'll see releases, actually plenty of releases on the regular. In fact, I can go out to release notes, and you can get that long list right in here. In fact, let's go beyond that. I want to dive into what's new, just to kind of give you an idea of again what's new. I've kind of covered a lot of stuff. A lot of this is going to be around Windows 10, and that's why I mentioned that. You know, just kind of giving you Zoom tools, Photoshop and Illustrator integration, which I just showed you that, copy and paste, that stuff. Oh, resolve comments. So let's go ahead and show you this, and then I'll wrap it up, guys. So I only want to spend about 6 more minutes here. Yeah, so you want to creative agency, you want to get the HTML and the CSS output. Yeah, it's another story, because anytime we do that, anytime we generate code, coders get mad. They're like, why are you generating code? So we just can't win. That whole process, we cannot win. Yeah, so Camilo, yeah, you can view it on a cell phone through the XD app as well. So you're correct. That's what this little guy is doing right up here at the top. Again, if I had my phone connected, I'll be able to preview it on my device. But another thing I can do is actually share this online. Super, just so sad, this little app. I need more time, but in general, you guys will get the idea. You'll get a shareable link, and then I can post it. But that's why I wanted to show you the comments. So let's go ahead and click on this link. Bop. You have to add your own sound effects. Right in here, this is the app. I can jump in and comment and say, hey, you know what? Lame. That's literally what I'm saying, lame, to my own my own design. I get it. I haven't had enough time to work on it, but here's the link. So have fun with that. You can call my stuff lame. It's okay. I have no pride. Yeah, I would love Reesvies. I'd love to share stuff that's currently in development for XD, but yeah, you know how that goes. I also want to keep my job at the same time. I will point out that actually you can find some sneaks out there about Adobe XD. We've done some things. I know there was a little bit of a sneak when it comes to sharing, because what if you're working on this app with multiple other people? How can you work on the same app at one time? So that's one thing that we kind of sneaked at Adobe Max. And another thing that we kind of were sneaking was this ability for this data to not only come from a TXT file. I know you thought that was pretty cool, but pulling that data, say, from an XML file or even from online. As long as this is in a div, I can pull in all my Facebook friends' names right here and all their profile pics, right? And that was another sneak we did that you could probably find out there on YouTube. So that's all I got. No, it doesn't look nice, guys, but thank you. You guys are too kind. Man, I'm a designer, and I'm breaking my own heart right now because this is looking super sad. So I'd shrink this down, make sure the hit area is large enough. I don't know, it just needs a lot of work, guys. More work than I have time for, because these two elements are fighting. That's the problem with it. These two things are fighting. So one thing needs to be larger, one thing needs to be smaller. And, you know, I just need to make it look better, huh? How about that? Just make it look better. All right, guys, I'm wrapping up. Need to know if you have any, excuse me, any more questions for you. Keep in mind that this text is text that I actually pasted in from Illustrator. And even though I pasted it in, it's like still editable. You can maybe do something like that. I don't know. The nice thing is since I've updated this, I can go out here and let's save this crazy file, all this hard work that I'm doing, and share again. So I want to update that link and allow for comments. Right? So that's what I did, made that change, and now everything should look better, and you guys get the idea. Priyanka, thank you for joining me today. Herman, Colin, Bruno, Limplus, Project Zada, good to see ya. Oh, I haven't seen your name in a bit. Count Zero, Simon, what's up, buddy? Good to have you guys here. Always open to your suggestions on what you want to see on obviously this Creative Cloud YouTube channel. Hit the like button just below here. Say something nice to, not me, but to your neighbors, huh? Why not? Just spread the love, be creative, and that's all I got for you guys today. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk later. And I will talk to you later.